So without wasting so much time, we'll just start, right? My name is Gina. I lead the customer success strategies here at Proc 360. Thank you so much for joining. So I would like to start with like a question, right? A question that just came to my mind before this meeting. And it is, have we ever imported something, right? You sold it and then you wondered where your profit went, because it's very common for us to just bring in things, we're buying everything. And when we check, we're like, I don't think I made a lot of money. And but and you're like, did I really think about this, this product that I bought? Did I really add my profit well? Is this really what I made? Because sometimes, right, the problem isn't that you're not selling. It's you're selling, you're busy, money's coming in, but somehow you're not making as much as you thought, you would. And that's exactly what we are going to be talking about today. Why your imports are not as profitable as you want, and how smart businesses fix it. So small business owners, work incredibly hard. You're sourcing, you're negotiating, you're paying suppliers, you're sorting out shipping, you're marketing, a lot of things. And because you're doing so many things at the same time, right, at once, sometimes decisions that you make, could just happen very quickly. You could just see like a product trending and you see people selling it, or the supplier gives you what looks like a good, really good price, and you think that, okay, let me just buy it because people are buying, people are selling it. But the real question is, do you actually know what that product is going to cost you? And more importantly, do you know whether you are going to make enough money from it? And this conversation matters today. And we're not just going to be talking about imports, right? We're going to be talking about how to make better decisions around importing. So as we go through today's session, I want you to think about your business, right? Think about the last product you imported. Think about what you paid for it. Think about everything you spent getting it to your customer. Then ask yourself, did I actually know my numbers before I made the purchase? Because by the end of the day, that's one thing I want you to start looking at differently. And to help us unpack this properly, we have someone with us who has spent years helping people understand the business side of what they do. Our speaker today is Seun Oyebade, an entrepreneurship coach and a vocational skills educator. Seun has trained over 1,000 people at the Nigerian Armed Forces Resettlement Center, where she led the Leatherworks and Vocational Skills Department for 6 years. She has also coached over 500 people through community empowerment work. And one of the areas she teaches is product costing, pricing, and margins. She has seen firsthand how, people like you and I can put so much work into creating or into sourcing a product, be proud of the stock we have bought, and still lose money simply because we didn't price it properly. And I think that fits today's conversation really well, because importing isn't just about getting a product into your country, getting a product to your location. You need to understand what the product is actually costing you, what you should sell it for, and whether you are really making the money you think you are making. So please join me in welcoming Seun Oyebade. Seun, over to you. Welcome.
Thank you for joining us today. I would like to start by asking us the same simple question that Gina asked us at the beginning of this session. Have you ever completed a business transaction and then you looked at the profits you made and you thought to yourself, I should have made more profit than this? So if your answer is yes to that question, then today's session is for you. You are in the right place. So over the years, I've seen that many business owners, they assume that making more money on imports simply by finding a cheaper supplier or paying less for shipping. But after working with different entrepreneurs and business owners and running my own business, I have noticed something different. And many businesses, they do not lose money because they imported the wrong goods, but they lose money because they made the wrong business decisions before importation, during importation, and even after the importation process. And that is what we'll be exploring here today. And just like I've been introduced, my name is Oluwaseun Oyebade. I am an entrepreneurship coach, a vocational skill educator. I help entrepreneurs to think better, build better, and grow profitable businesses by helping them understand the business side of what they do. I also offer a one-on-one or small group guidance to entrepreneurs who need help thinking through specific business challenges. I'm also a vocational skill educator in Leatherworks, and I run my own Leatherworks business, Jay's Leather and more. Over the next 20 minutes, we'll be looking at the 5 common profit leaks that affect many businesses and the 4 business practices that can help us improve profitability. Okay, imagine these 2 entrepreneurs. They import the same exact products. They have the same supplier. They imported the same quantity, the same shipping period from the same country. One makes an excellent profit and the other one barely breaks even. Why? Many people assume that the difference is luck, exchange rate, or shipping cost. But in reality, profitability is determined by the quality of decisions that we make before the shipment even begins. Now, here is the big truth. Importing product does not automatically create profits by making smart business decision. That is what does. Making smart business decision is what automatically creates profits. Now, why do businesses struggle to make profit? Many businesses, they only lose profit before their goods even arrive. And we have a lot of reasons, but like I mentioned earlier, we'll be looking at just 4 common reasons, and I call them the profit leak. Now, let's look at profit leak number 1. Many people buy based on emotions instead of what is the market saying, or instead of market demand. Now, I'll ask you a question. Have you ever bought something simply because you liked it? Many people buy things because they like it. But here is the problem. Your customers will not buy a product because you like the product. They will buy a product because the product solves a need for them or satisfy a want. Why would I buy a product if it's not satisfying my need? And that is the difference. So one of the hardest lessons that every entrepreneur must learn is this. Your opinion is not what creates demand, but your customers' need is what creates demands. So before you buy, because you are excited or because you like a product, you ask questions, you study the market before you make your decision. Now let's look at other emotions that people buy based on. Some people buy because everyone else seems to be selling. Now, because you see that everyone is talking about importing air fryers, so I immediately decided I must import air fryers too. I do not ask myself, who are the people that will buy them? Or is the market already saturated? Or what makes my own offer different from every other person's offer? Or can my own customers, can they afford them? Then you discover that the competition is tight in price, and then your profit disappears. Now, another emotion that we look at is, because the product is beautiful, or another emotion is because of greed. Now, because my supplier said, oh, if I buy more pieces of this product, it's going to give me a very huge discount, which sounds really attractive. But you will ask yourself, can I sell this number of products? Can I sell it in a short while? Or will half of it be sitting in my warehouse for the next 1 year? Those are the questions that we should ask ourselves. Another emotion that people buy based on is because a supplier convinced us that it will sell. Sometimes the supplier will tell you that this product is moving fast, which no doubt is a very useful information. You will not blame them. But one thing you should remember is this. It may be selling well in their own market, but not necessarily in your own market. Because the supplier knows about the manufacturing, but you know your customers. So you should not confuse the two. Now, another emotion that people buy on is based on fear. What are you afraid of? Sometimes people buy because they are afraid of things like, if I don't buy today, dollar might go up tomorrow. Or everyone else is importing this product. If I don't buy now, I'm going to miss out of this opportunity. You are simply afraid because you are going to miss out. Now, all of these reasons are not sufficient reasons for you to invest your money. Fear can be as dangerous even as excitement. So, as a smart business entrepreneur, you ask yourself, you pause and ask, am I making this decision because the numbers support it or because my emotions are driving it? One advice that I would like to leave us with is do not let your emotions place an order that your business is going to struggle to pay for. And doing your market survey is very, very important. In business, confidence is not a strategy, but research is a strategy. So you research before you commit to capital. Now, I'm going to share with us a real business experience that I had. Now, there was a time that I had the opportunity to supply a product for a major event. Now, this was not the kind of product that sells all year round that people will buy. It had a very short selling window. And then once the event was over, the demand was going to reduce drastically. So one thing that I knew was if I ordered too many, I'm going to be left with excess stock that will be sitting in my warehouse and my profit is going to disappear. So instead of doing guesswork or hoping that I sell everything, what did I do? I started asking questions. I wanted to understand the market. I spoke with key people in the market to understand the level of demand and competition. I also wanted to know whether there were other suppliers that were serving the same market. So that research was what gave me the confidence to decide how many units to get. But I did not stop there. I went further. I didn't stop there. I went further. Before the product got to me, what did I do? I started to create awareness. I started to advertise. I began to advertise. And by the time the product arrived, half of it had already been sold. That experience reminded me that research does not just help you to decide what to buy, it also helps you to decide how much of products to buy and when to buy and how to sell. Now let's look at profit leak number 2, not knowing the true costs. Now this is the point where a lot of business owners they make mistake by only calculating the product cost and probably shipping cost. Now they forget to include that they're going to pay for storage, customs duty is there, exchange rates might fluctuate, you will do marketing, your delivery, there might be a loss from damaged goods. They forget to calculate opportunity costs. Now let's look at loss from damaged goods. Now many businesses, they do not include this in their calculation. They forget that goods can get damaged during production or while being loaded in the container or during shipping or during unloading. So even while in storage, the question is not whether damage can happen. The question is what happens to your profit when it does. You do not calculate your profit as though every product will be sold at full price. You will leave some to chance that something might go wrong because the reality says otherwise. And that is why some business owners, that's why they run clearance sales. You see them running clearance sales. In the real sense, they've made their profit before running that clearance sales. So rather than the products to sit in their storehouse or in their warehouse, they will sell at a giveaway price. If you do not plan for possibility, your expected profit becomes unrealistic. Now, this does not mean that you are being negative. It only means that you are being prepared. So you should be prepared. You hope for the best, but always budget for the unexpected as well. Now let's look at opportunity cost. Opportunity cost, let me explain this briefly. Now, this is the value of the next best opportunity that you gave up by making a particular decision. Now, in simple terms, what does this mean? It means that every time you decide to spend money on one thing and you are automatically choosing not to spend money on something else, that's something else that you are choosing not to spend money on is your opportunity cost. Now, I'm going to give us an example just to break this down so that we can understand. Now, let's look at product choice. For example, I have 5 million naira to import goods, and then I have two options of goods to import. Now I have the option of importing handbags. I also have the option of importing phone accessories. Now, after I've made my research, I now found out that handbags would make me a profit of 800,000 naira. And if I go into phone accessories, it's going to make me a profit of about 2 million naira. but I still chose to go for the handbags, whether because of fear or because that is the product that I'm familiar with. Now, my opportunity cost is the extra 1.2 million naira profit that I could have earned if I chose a better option. Let's look at another example. Suppose I imported 500 pieces of product, and then 6 months after, half of these products is still sitting in my warehouse. I've not sold them. My money is trapped. And during these 6 months, another product became highly profitable. But I could not buy it because my cash was tied up. So that means that that opportunity, that missed opportunity, is also an opportunity cost. Now let's look at profit leak number 3, poor planning. One thing I've learned is that profitable businesses, they do not just plan to buy products, they plan the entire business journey. Just like the example of myself that I gave us at the beginning. Now, many businesses, they make mistake by only planning until they pay the supplier. And everything after that, you just leave it to chance. You forget that good planning is what will turn your shipment into profit. So it's not only the shipment that is the business. You have to plan all round until your product is ready to go to your consumer. You have to plan every detail onto that part. For example, now overstocking in the overstocking. Now many entrepreneurs, they believe that they buy more. Like if they buy more, it means that they are going to make more profits. That is a lie. That is a very good a lie, a very big lie. This is totally not true. So rather than your money working for you, your capital is going to be sitting in the shelf of store if you are not able to sell all of those products at the given time. Or you buy too late or you buy too early. Now let's use Christmas as an example. If you are importing Christmas decorations, when should they arrive? Should they arrive in December? Of course not. They should not arrive in December. Your product should arrive weeks earlier than December because by December, people are already buying. And neither should you import Christmas products in February, Christmas decoration in February. That's too early. So let's look at it this way. I'm driving from Lagos to Abuja. I have a good car, but I did not check the fuel. I don't even know the route. I don't even have enough money for the trip. If something happens on the way, would anyone say my car is a problem? No, the problem is not the car, but the problem is my planning. So we should look at importation the same because planning problems becomes our buying problem. Now let's look at profit leak number 4, ignoring business data. Now, one of the biggest reasons why businesses lose money is because they do not pay attention to what their numbers is telling them. Because many business owners, they buy based on assumptions. Oh, because this product sold well last year, definitely it's going to sell well last year. But you are forgetting what is the market telling you today. Now, data simply means that the information about your business that helps you make a better decision. And what business data should every importer monitor? Every importer should track things like which product sells faster, which product makes the highest profit for me, which supplier gives me the best value, which months are my busiest, and how much cash is tied up in inventory, and how often do customers ask for these products that I do not have, not for the products that I have. How often do they ask for the products that I don't have? Those are part of the data that we should gather. So when you ignore your numbers, you start to make expensive guesses. You should not base your business on guesswork. You do not just say business is slow. Know the reason why the business is slow. Know why your profit margin, why it has reduced. If you have adequate information like this, then you'll be able to recover faster. Don't just collect data. Make sure you use that data. Use it to make wise business decisions. Now, let me give us an example. I sell handbags and I sell shoes. But every day, I sell more handbags. So I just concluded that, oh, handbags, they are my best businesses. But after calculating, I found out that on each handbag, I make a profit of 2,000 naira. But on each pair of shoes that I sell, I make a profit of 8,000 naira. And at the end of the day, I sold 50 handbags, which gave me a profit of 100,000 naira, and 20 pairs of shoes, which gave me a profit of 160,000 naira. Although looking at this scale, you see that the handbag sold more, but the shoes made more profits for me. So if I look at only the sales volume, I will keep investing in the wrong product. And that is what happens when you ignore business data. We should be able to balance everything. So if those four that we've looked at are the habits that reduces our profit, then what should a profitable business do? So we'll be looking at four business practices that drives profitability. Now, the first thing to do is you start with your customer, not your supplier. If you are going into importation, you start with your customer because it is your customers that will buy it. Your suppliers will always be there to have supplies for you, but you start with your customers. You ask, who needs this product? Why do they need it? How much do you think they are willing to pay or they will be willing to pay? Then how quickly will it sell? This is very important because you don't want to tie down your capital. Now, what would a smart business do? Smart businesses, they do not just buy products, but they solve customers' problem. So you have to ask, what problem is this product solving for my customer? What want is it satisfying for my customer? Now let's look at profitable decision number 2. Know the stories behind your number. Now this is where a lot of people make mistake. So here we'll be looking at the total landed cost, break even, desired margin, cash flow, and expected profit. Now let's go. Have you ever bought something that you thought would make you money only to realize late that after you paid for everything, there was nothing left? Now this is exactly what happens to many of us. We know what we are buying, but we don't know what is truly going to cost us. Now let's look at total landed cost. For example, you want to import shoes. Don't mind me, I'm using shoes a lot because that's the business that I do. You want to import shoes, and then your supplier says the cost of importing these shoes, this unit, is 2 million naira. And then I think, oh, great. If I import these shoes for 2 million naira, I'll sell them for 3 million and I'll make 1 million profit. But then I forgot to include I'm going to ship it down to my country. I'm going to pay custom duty, clearing charges, transportation, warehouses, up to bank charges, even exchange rates might affect my importation. Then suddenly I found out that my actual cost is not 2 million naira anymore, but it is 2.8 million naira. So now the question is, if I sell for 3 million naira, have I really made 1 million? No, I've only made 200,000 naira. Now that complete cost from my supplier up to from my supplier warehouse until my product is ready for my customer. That is my total landed cost. I should be able to include every cost that is going to cost me. So that is my total landed cost. Now let's look at break even. Break even. At what break even is at that point that you have recovered every naira that you spent. Now, for example, I've spent 2.8 million naira on my importation, including all the total landed cost and everything. And at that point, I have sold 2.8 million naira worth of products. I have not made any profits yet, and I have not lost money either. I'm simply back to where I started. Now that is my break even. So break even is the point where every cost has been recovered, including the cost of packaging, payment of staff, storage, and every other cost. And then every sale after that is where my profit begins. Now let's look at desired margin. So imagine two people, they import the same product. One is actually happy making 10% from that product. Another will not even touch the deal unless he gives 35%. Who is right? Both of them are right because it is every business that will decide the level of profit that makes every of their efforts worth the while. Now, desired margin is simply deciding how much profit you want to make before you even place an order. If you don't decide that profit before you buy, the market will decide it for you. Now, let's look at cash flow. Have you ever seen a business where they have plenty customers and all of a sudden you find out that the business closes down? And then you are wondering that, but they have customers now. So why would they close down? What happened? It is not because they were not making sales, but it is because they ran out of cash. Now, let me give us an example. You import goods today, and you know that these goods, if I import them, most likely they will be selling in 4 months. I'll be able to sell them off in 4 months. But meanwhile, in that 4 months, my rent is not waiting for me. I have to pay salaries. Transportation is included. I have to run my business. I have to pay for electricity. I have to pay internet bills, taxes, and the list goes on and on. And then the big question is, can my business really survive until my money comes back? So cash flow is having enough money available to keep your business running while waiting for your profit. If you don't have enough money to run your business while you are waiting for your profit, you will keep spending your profit. And at the end of the day, when you finish selling your product, you will not even have money to go back to the market and say you want to restock. Now let's look at expected profit. Expected profit is where everything comes together. Now look at it. Before you import, you ask yourself, everything goes according to plan. Now, how much money should I make? Underline should. How much money should I make? You should be sure of how much money, how much profit you want to make. Don't owe. Calculate. Make sure you do your calculation. For example, your selling price is 4 million naira. Your total landed cost is 3 million naira. Your expected profit is 1 million naira. You will ask yourself, if my expected profit is 1 million naira after taking this risk in this business, is it worth it? Now, if you think like that, then you are thinking like a business owner. So before you import anything, you have to be able to answer all of these 5 questions. Question 1 is, what will this cost me? Which is your total landed cost. When will I recover my money? Which is break even. How much profit do I want? That is your desired margin. Then, can my business survive until my money comes back? That is your cash flow. And is this expected profit? Is it worth the risk? That is your expected profit. Now, every profitable business, they have 2 things. Number 1 is the ability to seize opportunity and the ability to withstand disruption. You should be able to seize opportunity and you should be able to withstand disruptions. Profitability is not just about making money. If you are thinking of just making money, you have to think about the risk. It is also about staying profitable when things do not go according to plan. That is the risk. Now, I'm going to give us 2 scenarios. Now, I noticed that I've done my importation and then demand is dropping even before my goods arrive. I cannot stop the shipment. I've already paid. The shipment is already on the way. But what can I do? I can start planning. So rather than waiting for my product to come and doing nothing, what will I do? I will start marketing. If I know that I have to offer pre-orders, I should offer pre-orders. I should reach out to distributors. If I know that when these sales come, I might not be able to sell everything. Reach out to distributors. Reach out to wholesalers. I will bundle my products with another one just to increase the appeal so that these products can go. And if I see that my competitors, they're having upper hand over me, instead of fizzling out or being afraid or fidgeting, what would I do? I will work on better customer services. I would work on my delivery. I would work on my advertisement. I will work on promotion. If I have to work on packaging, I will work on packaging. I will work on things that would entice my customers to myself. I will keep monitoring the market so that I can adjust my selling strategy before my goods would even arrive. Now let's look at profitable decision number 3. We prepare for risk. Like I told you, business is all about risk. There's no business that does have risk. So what are the risks that we'll be talking about today? Exchange rates, shipping duties, supplier issues, changing market demand. You should ask yourself, what if this happens, before you ask your supplier how much. A smart business will always prepare for problem before it appears, because problem might appear. Now, one thing that I've learned in business is this: every business has a risk. Like I've said, it's not the businesses that try, they're not the ones with fewer risk, but they're the ones that prepare for them. Now let's look at exchange rates. Exchange rates is something that is common in Nigeria. We all know about it in Nigeria. If you are in Nigeria. Now, look at it. For example, you plan to import when dollar was 1,500 naira. You already did your calculation, you priced your product, and you already expected to make healthy profits. And then before you make payment, the exchange rate moves from 1,500 naira to 1,650 naira. You haven't bought more products, so neither did you change your supplier, but your cost has increased. So if you do not plan for things like this, if you do not plan for that increase, who is going to absorb the cost? The answer is usually your business. A smart business owner will not assume that exchange rate is going to remain the same. What would you do? You build a buffer into pricing and financial planning because you understand that fluctuations are part of doing business. Now, let's move to shipping delays. When I say shipping delays, imagine that you promised your customers that their product will arrive in 3 weeks, and then the shipment is delayed for another 4 weeks. These things happen because I've seen where it happens. I have live examples of where it happens. So if something like this happens, what would you do? Your customer will become frustrated. Some of them might even request for a refund. Some might end up buying from your competitors. Some will even drag you on social media that this person collected our money and our products, we've not seen it. So what should you do? At the end of the day now, you found out that you've lost sales and possibly the trust of your customers. Now, the delay was not entirely within your control. It's not something that you could have controlled. What would you do? Try and communicate properly to your customers. You communicate to them. This is what is happening. Let them be in the know-how. Because a business that communicates proactively with their customers, they often manage delay better than those who don't just assume that everything is going to go as planned. And the wrongest thing that you will do is ghost your customers. You don't ghost your customers. Once they see that you are still communicating with them, that will give them a kind of calm and they will be able to be patient with you. Now let's look at supplier issues. Imagine you've been buying from the same supplier for 2 years or more. Everything has always been going well. And then one shipment arrives, you discover that the quality has dropped or the supplier suddenly becomes unresponsive. What happens if your entire business depends on just one supplier? What will happen to your business? So my advice to you is have multiple suppliers. Don't just build relationships when it comes to business. Build options. Verify your suppliers, verify them regularly. You keep records. In fact, have backup supplier, not one, not two. Make sure you maintain clear agreements with your customers because this is business. Let your business be business. Now, the fourth point is changing market conditions. This one is relatable because sometimes the biggest risk is not even at the port, neither is it with the supplier, but it is in the market. For example, I imported products, but because it sold well 6 months ago, while my shipment is on its way, a customer launches a better version, or I'm sorry, one of my competitors, I mean, launches a better version, or my customer's preference changes, or the market has become saturated by the time my goods arrive and people are not buying like they used to buy because they now have options. So the question is, did my importation fail? No, but the market changed. So as a smart business owner, what I would do is keep watching even after planning that order. I will not assume that yes, today's demand is going to automatically become today's demand. Now, if you look at all of these things, you see that none of these risks can actually be completely eliminated. You cannot eliminate everything. But every one of them, what you can do is you can plan for them. You see two business owners, the same business, they run the similar business. Now they face the same shipping delay. One of the business owner is panicking, but because he never even considered that there was a possibility of all of this risk, while the other one remains calm because they already planned for it. Now the difference of this is not luck. It was not luck. It was preparation. The business that makes consistent profits are not necessarily the ones that avoid challenges. The challenges will be there, but they are the ones that prepare for them even before those challenges arrive. Now let's look at profitable decision number 4. What should you do? You should execute efficiently with systems. Efficiently with systems, with processes and technology. We are in the age of technology. Everything is advanced. Now, once you have made the right business decision, the next execution, the next challenge that you might face is execution. And that is where the right systems become valuable. So if you are making a good decision, it creates profitable opportunities for you. Efficient execution will help you protect all of those profits And then from all that we've talked about, if we're looking at the profit journey, you see that you start with your good planning. Once you plan properly, you execute properly, efficiency, profitability, then profitability. So I would like to leave us with this. Profit is not one big decision that you make. It is hundreds of small, smart decisions that you make that are going to work together. Now, if you remember the two entrepreneurs that we spoke about at the beginning of this presentation, one of them made more profit because one, he understood his customers. Two, he knew his numbers. Three, he planned ahead. Four, he was able to manage his risk properly. And then five, he built a system for efficient execution and not because he got lucky. Better profits don't begin with better suppliers. Now they begin by making a better business decision. So I'll be ending this session by saying this. Before your next shipment, I would want you to think better, build better, and grow profitable business. And I hope that by the next time you are importing, you don't just buy products, you make better decisions. Thank you. I'll now hand over to Gina. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Seun. That was a very insightful session. I learned a lot. I don't know about you guys, but I learned so much, and I hope you all did too. Seun, thank you so much for teaching us. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for those wonderful insights. And I think one thing that really stood out for me is that making sales and making profit are two different things. You can be making a lot of sales, you are restocking back to back, and you are not making profit, and I want to really appreciate you, Sheon. Okay, so now that everything Sheon has talked about, it brings us to the next question. Okay, I understand that I need to make better, business decisions, right? But how do I actually, manage the process better? And for a business owner, this is where things can become difficult. Sheon had said a number of things, and a large company might have, someone that does procurement for them, someone that is checking suppliers, doing all of those, basic stuff. You might just have yourself, right? You are the buyer, you are the finance person, you are the operations, right? And and that's like one of the problems that Proc 360 has been built, to help you with, giving you control over your entire restocking process, from your supplier to delivery, whether you're sourcing product, whether you are paying suppliers, whether you are even ensuring product quality, whether you are storing those, items that you have bought until you're ready, whether you're trying to cut logistics costs or even tracking your entire supply chain, right? You are not giving your money to like a middleman. You are the one running your import business from your phone. Even if you are a business owner, you have people working under you. There is someone that is, helping you with your whole supply chain. The person is in full control. Even if you are the only one, you are also, in full control. So Proc 360 is built to give you more structure, more visibility around your import process. So let's take it from the very top, right? Your entire import process in one platform. Imagine having like all of your, let's say you walk into a room and a lot of things are scattered all over the place, or in a building, a lot of things are scattered all over the place. And you have one group that has all of those things, right, that you need. That has all of those things that you need. You know how easy it will become for you to just, grab this here, grab this here. Think of Proc 360 like that. So on Proc 360, you get to submit your product pictures or even describe what you want. So if you don't even have, for people that are not very familiar with the Chinese marketplace, we have pictures, right? Pictures of items that you want to buy. You can even think of something, you can describe something, even if you don't have the picture, you can describe what you want, right? And Prop360 sources from, trusted suppliers just for you. You can fund your wallet in Naira and get it in renminbi. We understand how it's difficult for you to get an exchanger, right? And not just even difficult for you to get an exchanger, difficult to get a trustworthy person that you can send money to, and they give you RMB in exchange without scamming you, right? So you can fund your wallet, so you can pay your supplier in Naira, you fund your wallet in Naira, then you pay your supplier in RMB, right? So once you fund your wallet in Naira on the platform, it gets converted to renminbi. Then from there, you can pay your supplier. So even if you don't have an Alipay account, even if you don't have access to, transferring to a Chinese bank account, right? You can use Prop360 to send your money to your supplier, and also protects your money from currency devaluation, right? And also currency fluctuations. Take, for example, as a business owner, you are trying to save up and you are thinking, today exchange rate is like 210 Naira to 1 RMB. And with the way the market is looking, next week, RMB could be 215 Naira. Your mind will go, oh, I have this 50,000 Naira. Why don't I save it, right? Why don't I save it so that when it's 215, I won't, try and, having to add extra amount, to make it get to the particular RMB I want, right? So it protects your money from currency fluctuation, from currency devaluation. On Prop360, you can also inspect your goods before shipping and avoid costly mistakes of what I ordered versus what I got, right? You bought something from a supplier, you are expecting 50 pieces, and your goods are being on sea for 3 months or 2 months or 3 months, and only for it to get to you, and you are seeing 20 pieces. It can be so heartbreaking because you can't even return it. Even if you want to return it, it's going to take a long while because something that took 2 to 3 months to get to you, how will you now return it? Start dragging the supplier. So Prop360 helps you inspect those goods before shipping. Was that good? Was that item damaged? Was there any physical, defect? Is there any stain on it? Are the quantity that I bought for this particular item, are they complete? So in that way, you avoid costly surprises. You are not, ordering something and you're getting something else. Prop360 also offers you free storage for 30 days, right? So no rushing or scattered shipments. You are able to plan. And that's one of the things that Shenwa had spoken about, planning, right? Making proper business decision through planning. So you know that, oh, I want to restock my my shop, or I want to restock my store, and I want to buy so many things, but I'm not going to be buying at once. Imagine having a storage that gives you access 30 days, I just keep buying and buying and buying and storing and storing. So you have your own personal storage within the Prop360 warehouse where you store up your goods for 30 days. So you are able to plan better. You're able to buy more things. And when you're ready, you ship out. You won't rush, have to make scattered, haphazard decisions. We also have consolidation and ship. So Prop360 helps you combine orders from different suppliers into one shipment to reduce shipping costs. You know how you buy something from a particular shopping store, online shopping store, and they begin to send that particular item one after the other with the carton one after the other. You're paying for one item, you're going to pay for another item, you're going to pay for another item, like that. So with Prop360, you get to consolidate all items. So it's like one item is waiting for the other one, another one is waiting for the other one. So when all the items that you're expecting have gotten to the warehouse and have gotten to your own personal store, they are consolidated. And what consolidation means is that it removes excess cartons, excess fillers. You see those things that that they'll just put air to make it look, make package your item. Cartons are not very necessary. Basically, there are some cartons that that once it comes, you're going to throw them out. So those cartons are removed, those fillers are removed, to reduce your shipping cost. Having a compact packing. So compact packing means that it will be packed so well that there will be no space for air. There will be no space for nylon, those cartons that you don't need, all those things basically will be taken out to reduce your shipping cost, right? So with Prop 360, after you have been able to do all of this, you can now track everything and stay in control from China to your doorstep. So whether you are using Prop 360 to buy, right, whether Prop 360 is buying for you, you can see what you are buying. You can see the stage at which the purchase process is. Whether you are funding your wallet, you know how much you are funding with. You know how much you're getting in RMB. You know how much you're sending to supplier. Just know everything. So it's like a place that you can have like a full inventory of all of your transactions, right? You know how many parcels you have sent to your store. You know the ones that you have shipped out. You know what you're expecting. So you are seeing everything. It's like a mirror where you see yourself. You see all parts of your body from that mirror. That's what Prop 360 is, right? So you begin to see everything. You stay in control, right? You know when your goods is on sea. You know when your goods is on air. You know when your goods has gotten to custom, and also from there you know when it has gotten to the warehouse in your country, where you can now request for delivery or go and pick it up yourself. We have over 8,000 businesses importing smarter with Prop 360 already, and I believe that it is your turn to start buying profitably. It is your turn to start protecting your profits, right? Protecting your business against devaluation, right? And unnecessary surprises.